guys want to watch, I say do you want to? We're gonna watch, a lore video for Elden Ring. Because like I said before, I know some of you guys, maybe don't know Elden Ring that much. We're gonna watch, a lore video. For those of you who know, Souls, you guys are probably familiar with Vadi, Vadi Vidya. He does a lot of really good Souls content. I've actually never watched this particular video, but he explains the lore of Elden Ring, which I feel like is very fitting to watch considering we're starting a new playthrough prior to DLC. I'm really bad at... I mean, I love to yap about lore, don't get me wrong, but my brain goes... So sometimes I'm not... It might not make that much sense. So we're gonna watch Vadi. I've never watched this, so I'm curious to see if my lore knowledge... It probably doesn't stand up to Vadi's lore knowledge, but I'm curious to see if I'll learn anything that maybe I'm not familiar with. Yeah, we're gonna watch a Vadi lore video of Elden Ring to kind of fill you guys in. Obviously, this is gonna mention spoilers. It'll be references, I'm sure, to late game bosses. I've already played the game before, so it's fine for me, but. At the very least, it'll give us understanding, so when we get to said bosses in our playthrough, you guys will be like, ah, that's that guy. He does this thing. It'll be cool. Yeah. We're gonna do this, and then after that, we'll jump into Elden Ring and we'll continue our playthrough. We did a lot of setup last time, so hopefully we can kill some bosses today. That's the goal. Strap in, guys. Let's go.
Our story doesn't begin in the lands between. It begins in the cosmos, far away,
Space.
with an outer god called the Greater Will. There are a lot of outer gods mentioned in Elden Ring. You can think of these kind of like the Great Ones of Bloodborne. They're distant beings.
Bloodborne? Okay, I love the reference to Bloodborne. The Bloodborne ones are crazy. I love it. Also, I want to be an Elden Ring god.
They're all powerful and they're quite unknowable by design. But many of these outer gods want to make their presence felt in the world. The Greater Will, maybe most of all. To this end, it sent a golden star hurtling towards the lands between. The Elden Star's incantation tells us that this golden star was bearing a beast.
You're telling me that Elden Stars, which is an it's an awful move. It is so hard to deal with. You're telling me there's an actual lore reason for it? I mean, I guess that makes it more useful. Oh my lord.
An Elden
I love this
beast.
boss. I love this
The Elden
boss.
Remembrance calls it a vassal beast of the Greater Will. If you didn't know, a vassal is someone who holds land on behalf of their overlord. Obviously, this is fitting in this case, because the Elden Beast occupied the lands between on behalf of the Greater Will, and was a living incarnation of the concept of order. As such, this beast would later become the Elden Ring.
This is such a pretty boss fight. I know that some people get, I think, disappointed with the boss fight. It is so pretty. It's beautiful. I love it so much. I love that it's the cosmos and the space and the gold. It is, mwah, chef's kiss design.
The Elden Ring itself is made up of runes of power. Some great, some small, that together represent a sort of logic for the world to follow. Thus, the Elden Ring represents order. The true nature of this order is a subject of constant debate and research undergone by fundamentalists. But two of the key fundamentals are the laws of causality and regression. You can think of the law of causality as cause and effect, where actions have consequences, and those consequences are new causes that branch out into infinity.
When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
These are the relationships between things. Then there's the law of regression that states that all things eternally yearn to converge and return to their
We all yearn for the roots.
Fittingly, then, the Elden Ring is housed within the erdtree, which towers over the lands between.
Again, one thing I love about Elden Ring, it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. The fact that you could see the tree from everywhere and it glows and lights it up, and as you journey, you could still see it. You're just, you know, in a different place. I love how you could just see everything in Elden Ring and it's all so connected. It is so beautiful. This game is beautiful.
But it's very important to stress that life in the Lands Between did not begin with the erdtree, the Elden Ring, or the Elden Beast. No, the Lands Between were occupied well before the Greater Will came. There were other beings here. There were other factions here. There were other gods here. And there was...
We got the same eye! Look! We got the same eye! Oh my god, twinning! Oh my god!
even another great tree here before the erdtree. And this is where a huge twist regarding the erdtree comes in. So there are incantations in the game called aspects of the Crucible. According to their descriptions, these are manifestations of the erdtree's primal vital energies. And I quote, "They are an aspect of the primordial crucible where all life was once blended together."
It's the beast mode spells. The furry spells. The Crucible spells are really cool. I do like them. They're super cool. The Crucible Knights,
But how could all life be blended together in the erdtree if the erdtree appeared after life existed? Well, there can only be one answer, right? That the erdtree is a parasite, and it took over a tree that existed here before. This ancient tree was called the Great Tree. So the Great Tree was almost certainly the location of this primordial crucible, and it must have been a very powerful primordial force for the Greater Will to have commandeered. It might even be the reason the Lands Between is important to the Greater Will in the first place. It also explains why spells and enemies related to the Great Tree's crucible would eventually be looked down upon. For example, the Knot Talisman is fashioned from a knotted vestige of the Crucible, and it was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity as civilization has advanced. Enemies related to the Crucible are the Omen, the Misbegotten, and the Crucible Knights, and all...
The Crucible Knights are so cool. I love their armor. Oh my god. I love, I just love everything. It's all so cool. I love just the fact that there's such like a history developed in the Lands Between, or like in the world of Elden Ring, with like the whole like old tree and everything. There's so much history that you don't see unless you're really looking for it. My first playthrough, I didn't know what these guys were. I thought they were just random knight dudes. But then you look into it and you're like, oh my god. It's so cool. I love it.
All three of them would be shunned, enslaved, or imprisoned. Those who speak for the erdtree don't want you to know its roots, so to speak. According to the spell, Protection of the Erdtree, in the beginning everything was in opposition to the erdtree, but through countless victories in war, it became the embodiment of order.
War! Victory! Woo!
In Marika's own words, the erdtree governs all. The choice is thine. Become one with the order, or divest thyself of it. To wallow at the fringes, a powerless upstart.
But the Greater Will needed more than a big tree. It needed loyal agents in the Lands Between.
Why they gotta make the fingers hairy, man? I'm just saying, they got... they made these fingers the most vile looking things ever. They have the Elden Beast, who's beautiful, right? Beautiful, stunning. The tree is glowing, glistening, beautiful. And they communicate through two broken ass, really nasty looking fingers.
To this end, it has the two...
Look at them! Look at them! Like, they're in a... Like, the Greater Will is beautiful, and then they communicate through these.
Two fingers, who are its envoys. The Two Fingers heirloom has a weird picture of them, but it reads, "Of course, fingers cannot speak, yet these are eloquent. Persistently they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus did we gain the words of our faith."
Yes, I see some nasty fingers. They're doing a little wiggling. It must be fate. It must be our destiny. They must be telling us the meaning of life by their wiggling.
These words are interpreted
Not the air quotes.
by the finger readers, These are the undying old crones that you would have found throughout the lands between. They pass down the wisdom of the two fingers, or at least they used to.
Your fingers, please, your fingers. I can read them.
Most of them appear to have lost their purpose, and they're dead.
Let me read your fingers. Give me your fingers. I would like to read them.
Desperate to read your fingers and tell you annoying riddles, since their two fingers are likely dead. And yes, of course, there are multiple sets of
Oh my god, oh my god.
two fingers.
There's multiple sets? I mean, yeah, I see them. I don't know why I thought they were clones of the same set. Okay, my brain just broke. That was probably pretty obvious, but I just kind of assumed they were like clones of the same. I don't know.
You would have found their corpses on the tops of the divine towers. Atop these towers, you loot the fingers in order to activate the true power of a great rune. Specifically though, you are giving benediction back to your great rune. You're taking a blessing back from the two dead fingers, essentially. This is just one of many blessings that the two fingers can bestow, and my point is kind of that the two fingers clearly have more than just influence.
I just realized Ronnie's sitting on fingers. Oh my god. I know that when you go marry her, she's in the cave. I didn't realize she's sitting on two fingers. And if you look on the here, that's the death rune. That's the rune of death that she stole. And she put it on the fingers to kill the finger. I just clued into that. Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't notice that she killed her on two fingers with the rune of death. Oh my god. I didn't notice. Every time I get here, I'm just like, wife, please, marry me, please. I don't pay attention to the rest of it.
And my point is kind of that the two fingers clearly have more than just influence. They have real power on some level. The Greater Will needs these powerful envoys and agents because, while it's obviously incredibly powerful, it does seem limited by a few things. First is space. The Greater Will didn't come to the lands between itself, it sent an Elden beast to do
That's
its
so
bidding
pretty.
instead. Second is time. There is a moment later in the game where your pair of two fingers go still because they're forced to commune with the Greater Will for guidance.
When they are finished, the fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me. But you, how will you ever manage the wait?
So the Greater Will needs a physical manifestation of order. It needs envoys to convey its will, but what it also needs is a god. Introducing Marika the Eternal.
Marika! Oh my god, oh my god.
I have the
But if they need a god, I'm right here. I'm right here. They can just, you know, I can be the god. I can take over the lands between. I think that would be pretty cool. They can do that. Actually, scratch that. Scratch that. If you look here,
is a god. Introducing Marika the Eternal.
she's kind of chained up, and I would like my freedom.
I have this utterly enormous mind map of Elden Ring's lore.
Oh my god.
There's a reason she's at the center.
That's crazy. That is so much. That is a huge mind map. Oh my god. That's like, guys, this is what my brain's like usually 24/7, except it's not coherent lore thoughts. It's just random shit posting in my brain. This is what my brain looks like.
She's essentially the equivalent of Gwyn from Dark Souls, except unlike Gwyn, Marika didn't just crawl out of the dark and find power. To an extent, it seems like she earned it. We don't know much about her origins, except that she is of the Newman race.
She's so cool. Everything is so cool. The soundtrack is so cool. I'm geeking right now. But yeah, she's chained up right now. She's very broken. So yeah, I rescind my offer. I don't want to be god anymore of the lands between, please. I will stick to war.
Which is actually an origin that you can choose in the character selection screen. Newmen come from outside the lands between, and are supposed descendants of denizens of another world, long-lived but seldom born. At some point, Marika was chosen as an Empyrean. What is an Empyrean? Well, an Empyrean is a being chosen by the Fingers as a candidate for godhood. As an Empyrean, Marika received the aid of a shadow to do her bidding. So what is a shadow?
I love him! I love him!
Well, it's a wolf, shadowbound to its Empyrean by the two fingers. Lunar Princess Rani is another example of an Empyrean with a shadowbound beast.
Alright, chat. Alright, guys. I'm not a furry, but, Blythe?
You would have met Blythe.
Blythe!
These creatures are the Empyrean's very own shadow. They are completely loyal to their needs and, by definition, incapable of treachery. Marika's shadow was a beast called Malakath. Every Empyrean uses their shadow in different ways, but Marika's sole need of her shadow was as a vessel to lock away destined death. So what is destined death? Well, according to Enya, it's the rune of death.
The rune of death goes by two names. The other is destined death.
We mentioned earlier that the
Destined death is what I give you guys if you guys call me small, alright? If you guys call me furry or small or puntable, I will deal out destined death. I will find Malekith and I will take the rune of death and I will unleash it upon you, chat. Alright, you better watch out.
Elden Ring is made up of runes, and at some point, maybe when she was chosen as a god, Marika plucked the rune of death from the Elden Ring. She gave the rune of death to Malekith, her totally loyal shadow.
Okay. Do you know what I said earlier about Blythe? Yeah, anyways.
Who bore a black blade imbued with this rune. It's kind of genius, really. In a single act, she removed the concept of death from the lands between, while also commanding total control of death through her shadow, who could deliver it at her whim. Now, some of you might be asking, if death is removed...
Dog! Oh my god, dog featured in video! Dog! Dog!
from the lands between, how come I can kill this dog? First...
I don't know if he'd actually mentioned that it was a dog. Dog mention!
First off, shame on you. Second, from a lore point of view, that dog isn't really dead. It's simply in the process of its spirit, or its soul, returning to the erdtree. Catacomb dungeons, for example, are specifically constructed near the roots of the Great Tree for this reason, so that the erdtree can reabsorb their ashes back into it. This process replaced the concept of a death that you were destined to have. But this random spirit outside of a catacomb dungeon says it best.
Oh, I'll read this out loud.
Random spirit outside of a catacomb dungeon says it best.
A proper death means returning to the erdtree. Have patience until the time comes and the roots call to you.
As another example of this theory...
Piss Boy! Oh my god! It's Godfrey, Lord of Piss!
When you kill a major boss, you receive a remembrance of them. These are spirits, and they are hewn into the erdtree. In this way, thanks to the erdtree's grace, their spirits are immortalized, in a sense. This new form of death also explains what's happening when you summon spirits.
From ash and return to the erdtree.
However, some spirits never return to the erdtree, and they rise within. What's happening when you summon spirits.
From ash and return to the erdtree.
However, some spirits never return to the erdtree, and they rise within death as corpses or skeletons instead.
Unthinkable or hallowed resting place is violated. To refuse the erdtree's call to return to live within death.
So this was the new order. And it's important to stress that it was in this moment, when the rune of death was removed, when destined death was taken, this is when order became the Golden Order.
The forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation.
Specifically, this was Marika's Golden Order. So not only did she become a god and a vessel for the Elden Ring, she became renowned as Marika the Eternal for her removal of destined death.
That's how she got the name.
It was a huge part of her character and her reign as well. However, Marika had more than just death to conquer. She had wars to fight as the world was occupied by many forces that could threaten her golden order.
Pussy to sex.
There was war
Sorry, cat moving again. All right.
was occupied by many forces that could threaten her golden order. There was war with the Storm Lord, who likely ruled over Stormvale, and there was a war with the Giants, who were masters of a flame that could burn the erdtree. There was war with the ancient dragons, who incidentally had
Dragon D's nuts.
stones
Got him.
that could burn the erdtree. There was war with the ancient dragons, who incidentally had stones that could twist time and thus slay a god. And finally, there was war brewing with the Carrion royalty, who had previously obeyed laws which contravened the Golden Order. Thus, sort of similar to how the Greater Will needed an Empyrean to enforce its will, Marika herself needed someone to wage war. So, there was to be a husband, a consort, an Elden Lord. The man chosen was Horalu, a ferocious
Smash.
warrior who became known as the Lord of the Battlefield. His crown was warranted with strength, and while it was for this strength that Marika married him, he was also required to take a vow to conduct himself as a lord, to suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within.
Me, lust for battle. Let's go. I love him. He's so cool. Smash. Smash. Absolutely.
Horalu took the beast regent Sarosh upon his back. You'll notice this is another example of a beast being given for the purpose of serving order. Thus, in this moment, he went from being Horalu, warrior, to Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, consort to Queen Marika, and a certified demigod. Godfrey
He's
and
so
Marika
cool.
had 3 demigod children together.
All right, chat. This is where we get into the family tree of things, okay? This is where we get into the family tree of things.
Demigod. Godfrey and Marika had 3 demigod children together. There was Godwyn the Golden, who you saw being killed in the opening trailer, and there were also the reviled Omen twins, Morgoth, who guards the erdtree, and Mohg, who became Lord of Blood. You might think that Godric was another demigod child, but he actually wasn't. Instead, he was probably descended from Godwyn. Anyway, we'll talk about the demigods more in detail in another video, so subscribe for that. But for now, just know that Godfrey and his offspring were the first demigods, henceforth known as the Golden Lineage. In his wars, Godfrey led his 16 Crucible Knights into battle.
Okay, if you guys are interested, we can definitely watch demigod lore in another time. Because the demigods are super cool. There are a lot of the bosses that we fight, and they got really good lore as well. So if you guys are interested, you can watch it another time as well.
In his wars, Godfrey led his 16 Crucible Knights into battle, who were named so for they fought with the primordial powers of the erdtree. Their incantations were aspects of the Crucible itself, and they likely fought giants, dragons, the Stormlord, and more to usher in
This boss, man, the 2 Crucible Knights is so rough. Crucible Knights are so... But on themselves, they're annoying, but the 2 Crucible Knights is such a rough fight, man.
likely fought giants, dragons, the Stormlord, and more to usher in their age, the age of the erdtree.
In Marika's own words, hark, brave warriors. Hark, my lord Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount. Let a new epoch begin, an epoch glistening with life.
You just kind of sitting there. This image looks like he's just kind of sitting there being like, all right, lady, all right, man. Can't you see I'm just trying to rest at my grave state, lady? I'm just trying to rest, and you're just yapping.
Brandish the Elden Ring for the age of the erdtree.
The erdtree would go on to be largely seen as a blessing for all of those in the lands between, especially those close to it in Lanedell, the capital city of the erdtree. The tree bestowed blessings. For example, the dew that dropped from its branches were like jewels. It loomed overhead as a constant reminder of order, and its roots reached far and wide, relieving many of the burden of death. In fact, erdtree burial was one of the highest honors a hero could receive. One by one, the previous factions of the world fell. The giants
Bird!
were put to the sword, and their fell god was killed by Marika herself. The ancient dragons broke down the walls of Leyndell, but met fierce retaliation. However, I think the House of
God, this one part is so pretty too. This game is so beautiful. The scenery in this game is mwah, chef's kiss. I love it so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. I will never stop raving about just how beautiful this game is.
the erdtree encountered the most trouble against the land to their southwest, Liurnia. Here, the House of the Moon repelled their offensives time and time again, and I mean that literally, because there was not just one but two wars fought here, and in both of these, there was no victory for the Golden nor for the Moon. And I suspect it was probably because of these lobsters. These damn things can snipe you from like a mile away, and it's bullshit. Actually,
The lobsters are so bad. I hate them. I hate the lobsters and the shrimp guys. Oh my god, I don't know if he's gonna mention the shrimp guys, but the shrimp guys, the lobsters. Oh, not the souls lobsters and the souls crabs. Ah, damn, dude. The true final bosses of this game.
it was probably because of the Carrier Knights, who, according to their weapons, were able to wield sorcerous battle skills, and despite numbering fewer than 20, this power made them a match for even the champions of gold. in
There's
battle.
only fewer than 20 of
These
them?
enchanted knights were anointed by the Lunar Queen, a young astrologer who went on to establish the House of Carrier as royalty in this land. With her bewitching lunar magic, she won over the Academy
Bro, why are you just letting yourself get sniped? What is he doing? He was just letting himself get sniped. He's just taking it.
of Raya Lucaria, where glintstone sorcery was studied, and united the Carrion royal family and the learned scholars of Raya Lucaria
Oh, we
defended
got
their
messed
home
up.
from the golden aggressors. At the head of this great golden army was Radagon.
Dog! Radagon's at the head. I only see his big dog. Pope dog! Pope turtle, Pope dog.
Lord Radagon was a great champion, possessed of flowing red locks. He came to these lands at the head of a great golden host when he met Lady Renala in battle.
These two champions clashed, fell in love, and joined their houses.
Radagon once cleansed himself with celestial dew, repented his territorial aggressions, and swore his love to Renala. The order of the erdtree and the fate of the moon were conjoined, and all the wounds of war forgiven.
You might think it strange that the Greater Will would permit this union, but it's not too odd, all things considered. As with most From Software games, sorcery and faith are just two sides of the same coin, and both of these powers stem from the cosmos. Radagon and
The power of Mountain Dew. Drink your Mountain Dew and your sins will be forgiven, and then you can have a wife.
coin, and both of these powers stem from the cosmos. Radagon and Renala were known to have 3 children together. Lunar Princess Rani,
Wife!
who inherited her mother's propensity for lunar magic. Radan, who took after his father Radagon and would go on to master gravitational magic.
Radan is so
and
cool.
Rykard, who pioneered new hex sorceries and would go on to feed himself to a great serpent.
What a legacy. Oh, he pioneered stuff and then he got eaten by a snake.
It follows that at some point after this, Marika began to harbor doubts. Doubts about the Golden Order, that she had had a hand in creating.
In Marika's own words, I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order through understanding of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past. My comrades, why must ye falter?
And it's at this point that we should talk about Marika's motivations, her character. This is surely going to be one of those huge points of debate in the coming years, but for now, my working theory is that she wanted to discover the truth behind order and the truth behind the greater will, and she believed that bonds had to be broken so that they could be better understood. She believed that there was great meaning to be found in hardship.
Queen Marika has high hopes for us,
She just wanted the truth. She wanted the meaning of life.
that we continue to struggle unto eternity.
For Lord Godfrey, his struggle ended at the end of his campaigns. According to his armor, he led the war against the giants, faced the Storm Lord alone. And then there came a moment when his last worthy enemy fell. And it was then, as the story is told, that the hue of Lord Godfrey's eyes faded.
That's what happens when you're bred for war and all of a sudden there isn't none. You leave the lands between or you turn to VTubing. Oh my god. I love him. He's so cool. He's such a cool boss.
In truth, he was robbed of his grace. Then Marika sent him away.
My lord,
She just straight up was like, oh yeah, you killed everyone for me? Now leave? Dead ass? She was like, oh okay, like, alright, cool, you're done. You go away now. I'm done with you. Bye-bye. Damn. Well, how mean.
Of his grace. Then Marika sent him away.
my lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die.
This became known as the Long March of the Tarnished, as Godfrey and his tarnished descendants walked away from the lands between. But Queen Marika absolutely had a plan here, that Lord Godfrey and his descendants would one day return stronger, having struggled outside of grace.
Then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed, return to the lands between, wage war,
Wage war!
and brandish the Elden ring, grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey.
Soon
Oh god, the editing is so good. Oh my god. That's just mwah.
after, she found a new husband. Either that or a new husband was found for her.
When Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was hounded from the lands between, Radagon left Rennala to return to the Erdtree capital, becoming Queen Marika's second husband and king consort, taking the title of Second Elden Lord.
Alright, you killed all my enemies. Now you can go away, please, because I want to marry a redhead who was technically married to someone else, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. He's mine now. Huh?
The mystery endures to this day as to why Lord Radagon would cast Lady Rennala aside, and moreover, why a mere champion would be chosen for the seat of Elden Lord.
Whatever the case, as a part of this union, Radagon's prior 3 children with Rennala became demigod stepchildren, granted grace thanks to their new family tree. Rennala was broken by this, and so was her country, Liurnia. The Queen's set reads, when Rennala, head of both the Academy of Raya Lucaria and the Carian royal family, lost her husband Radagon, her heart went along with
Aw.
him. And then those at the Academy realized that Rennala was no champion
Aw.
after all. In the wake of Radagon's betrayal and Rennala's poor judgment, Liurnia struggled with civil war, with the Academy of Raya Lucaria on one side and the Carian royals on the other. And it's here, during the age of the Erdtree, that Lunar Princess Rani,
Wife!
daughter of Rennala and Radagon, stole a fragment of the Rune of Death.
It happened
Ah,
during
yes.
the golden age of the erdtree, long before the shattering of the Elden Ring. Someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, the Black Blade.
As mentioned previously, Malekith
As mentioned previously, my statement about Blythe. Anyway.
Keth was Marika's shadow, and he had sealed destined death in a black blade. Then a fragment, only a fragment, of this Rune of Death was stolen. And once this happened, Malekith went a step further in protecting destined death. He bound the blade within his own flesh, such that none might rob death ever again.
That's so badass, dude. That is so badass.
Too late, however. This fragment of the Rune of Death was used immediately, that night, to kill a demigod, Marika's own son, Godwyn the Golden.
That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history, and it became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed, and thus sprang forth the war known as the Shattering.
Now, there is a lot of really credible evidence that Marika was behind this plot to have a fragment of the Rune of Death stolen. There's also a ton of evidence that Marika is behind the entirety of your tarnished quest, but we'll talk about that in another video. For now, all you really need to know, in terms of the timeline at least, is this.
She's behind everything? Oh my god. That's actually crazy.
After the marriage of Marika and Radagon, and after a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen, Marika went on to shatter the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it, to no avail. The Elden Ring had been broken into runes, some great and some small.
You know, it's said that Lord Radagon harbored a secret. A famed sculptor of the erdtree capital was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in giant stature, when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
Did you guys get it? Do you guys get it? Do you guys understand what's happening? I love this so much. I love this reveal. This is like such a cool reveal. The whole, you have to use the law of like causation, or the law of regression spell, I believe. If you use it at the statue that is of Radagon, this statue is supposed to capture Radagon's likeness. But if you use the spell in front of the statue, it shows you his true likeness. All right? So statue of Radagon.
In giant stature, when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
His true form. Radagon is Marika. They are one and the same. They are the same person. I love this. It's so cool. It is such a cool detail, and I missed this my first playthrough, so I didn't understand it. And then I went back and I found this statue. It's so cool. I love the reveal. They are the same person. So Marika took on another form as Radagon.
Of course, the huge twist in Elden Ring is that Radagon is Marika, or depending on what you believe, he became her, for she knew it was going to happen.
In Marika's own words, O Radagon, leal hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me. Thou art yet to become a god. Let us be shattered, both. Mine other self.
Oh my god, the detail. Excuse me. The detail of like the actual body being shattered and starting to break is so good as well. In the character design, I love it.
Be shattered, both. Mine other self.
You can tell when From Software is keeping something a little bit open-ended, and of everything in Elden Ring's lore, this will also go on to be one of the biggest unknowns as we move forward. For example, the wording, thou art yet to become me, reinforces that Marika and Radagon were two separate entities before the Shattering. However, in contrast, there is also evidence that Radagon was always part of Marika.
And again, with the character design, having the Elden Ring literally being a part of his being is so cool. It is so sick. I love it.
For example, Enya says that
The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika.
but how can this be if Radagon married Renala and had those demigod children? The only way that makes sense is if Radagon was always Marika and he just went over there to seduce Renala long ago. I'll present more concrete theories in the future, but on this matter, the most important thing is, what do you think? While you can figure out a ton of Elden Ring's story, not all of it is open to interpretation. Certain things are, and this is one of them. And your interpretation is a big part of what makes this story special. At any rate, the union of Radagon and Marika seems to be a union of two fundamental opposing laws of the Golden Order. We mentioned these laws earlier, actually.
Praise the sun!
Fundamental opposing laws of the Golden Order. We mentioned these laws earlier, actually. There's the law of causality, and Marika is an agent of cause and effect. And there's the law of regression, as Radagon is a character who aspires to be complete and regress together. So I have a theory that forcing these two beings that represent these concepts together would have corrected Marika's deviance. But even so, she was imprisoned in the erdtree for the crime of the shattering.
Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the vision's vessel.
Also, for those of you guys who know Elden Ring, her prison, she's being chained up by a rune arc. You use rune arcs in the same way that you would use embers in Dark Souls 3, for example. And you use rune arcs to get the ability of the great rune you have equipped. She is imprisoned on a rune arc, and I think that is such a cool detail. I don't know what the red thing that's stabbing through her is, though. And I've seen some other theories. If anyone has theories, let me know, because I'm curious about what is actually impaling her.
The conjoined Radagon and Marika even had two demigod children of their own, Mikola and Millennia. These
Millennia, the blade of Mikola. She has never known defeat.
two children were born afflicted. Mikola was cursed with eternal childhood, and Millennia harbored a horrific rot within. Even so, these two children were both chosen as Empyreans. They were immensely sacred beings, and eligible to inherit godhood from the Greater Will. Perhaps the Greater Will was just desperate to find a worthy successor, and indeed in the Shattering War to come, many would try to claim the shards of the Elden Ring, and they would try to take the throne, including, of course, the Tarnished, who returned from their long march at long last.
Tarnished, maidenless, and we will get bitches.
Which we'll talk about in the next main lore video. I should probably also mention here that if you become a patron, you'll see upcoming lore videos early, as that's one of the rewards you get if you pledge to the $3 tier. And if you think my channel really adds a lot of value to the Souls games for you to the point where you pledge $20, then in this new tier you'll receive a new mug every 3 months that has a unique design on it, to do with the games by From Software. There are 4 to collect. The first one you'll get is inspired by Dark Souls, then Elden Ring, then Sekiro, and finally Bloodborne. And they all have fantastic art that I worked on with an amazing artist named Chu. But
It was the
anyway, I
maidenless.
figured this is the right place to end this video because the information here is going to be overwhelming. I bet it probably was too overwhelming, you know? It took me ages to commit these names and the relationships they had with other characters to memory, so I hope you guys are doing alright. One thing that helped me a lot was that we designed an enormous
Yeah, the
mind
map
with
again.
Pretty much
That's
all
crazy.
of Elden Ring's lore, all of its item descriptions, all of it.
All of the item descriptions, all of the that's crazy. There's so much in this game.
Its dialogues, all of the relationships between characters that we can think of. We added all of this together and it helped a ton in learning about the story and visualizing it all. And one day I will make this asset available to you all because I think after doing it, I think this is the quintessential way to piece together the story, and I think giving you guys this asset eventually will make that accessible for people, so I'm really excited about that. I want to thank Absa and Zard for accepting the paid task of helping me put all the raw data into this mind map so that I could better understand everything. I want to thank Parrygod for fulfilling all of my footage requests and creating so many cinematic scenes.
The guy just
for this
getting hit
video
again.
and for you all to enjoy. And I last of all want to thank John Devlin for the incredible thumbnail. And of course, thank you for watching. There are some really exciting things ahead, and I actually believe this might be the best story that From Software have ever put together. I just think not only are there so many amazing item descriptions, but so many of them are impactful. There are so many moments where you piece together the story and have like a eureka moment, and I'm enjoying it so much. But now I'm gonna go and play the game a little bit because I've been editing this video for 2.
If you guys like the Souls lore, the Elden Ring lore, you can definitely react to some more if you guys would like. Please go check out Vadi. Vadi is amazing. Vadi does so many amazing videos on Souls content if you like that. And if you guys want me to react to more of them, I can definitely do so. Yeah. This is so much fun. I love this. I love this so much.